Welcome, welcome, everybody. Wake up, wake up. It's time to go. Uh, Welcome to Mornings with Movers. We're here for another episode. We are going to crush it today. We got Clifford Starks, who's probably working out right now, so that's why we can't see him.
What's up, everyone?
We got Ryan Marsh in the building today. And Ryan, I think if you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, first, Dwyght, thanks for having me on the podcast. It was really cool to meet you out in New York. What, it was a couple weeks ago, I think we
Yes.
kind of met. But yeah, quick background is I spent over a decade in the moving industry, right? So kind of crushing all different positions and worked for a local agent out of New York. We were part of the United Van Line system. So obviously I'm very, very prone to my van line folks, especially my unit group folks. I spent 12 plus years having a lot of fun with, and decided to kind of step away and kind of figure out what I wanted to do when I grow up, sort of say. And I knew I wanted to stay in the moving industry. I just wasn't sure at what capacity, or what roles or whatever that I wanted to be. And insert Supermove. Obviously, we utilized Supermove software when I was in seat at our local office, and had a great relationship with everybody there. And it just kind of seemed to be a natural fit that literally just kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, shoot, who would ever think a mover would be in the tech startup space, right? I mean, it's kind of the polar opposite of what most movers are about. I mean, technology and moving industry really hasn't gone hand in hand in a long, long time, but it's making great leaps and bounds. And I'm just really excited to I can still help my movers, sort of say, but I'm ultimately still having that impact on the customer through utilizing technology. So I still get to check the boxes on the things I love most about the industry, just doing it at a different level and within a different capacity. So
Nice.
Having a lot of fun doing it, man. A lot of fun doing this. So
Definitely, definitely. And technology, like you said, is definitely one of those things that's taken over. If most people haven't heard about the new group that Marcus Henning, I believe, has started or so with the AI Mover group, I believe it's called. It's been amazing. What ChatGPT is able to do, and how is everything is just being explained, and just all this back end stuff. And I'm just like, wow, like who knew that this would be the new face, and all the stuff that we've been paying for all these people to do for us was like, it's right here. It's just,
if you're a moving company, if really any company at this point, I don't care what industry, and if you're not leveraging ChatGPT right now and some facets of AI, I think you're already behind in the game. And it's only going to get worse. You're only going to get further behind. I mean, now is the time to, if you've ever, shied away from tech, I mean, now's the time not to do that. Especially with all the tools and resources out there. It's time to get after it at this point.
definitely. Cliff, what's been going on with you?
Ryan, you're amazing, dude. I gotta say that is an awesome experience. Over a decade in the moving industry and going in the tech world. Ryan is 100% right. This is a new generation, and it's time to learn the craft. I'm actually learning AI specifically, and how to prompt it and how to utilize it effectively. And ultimately, like, what people want in life is value. And one of the best ways to give them value is make their life easier.
Yeah.
And ironically, sometimes making their life easier is about making your life easier too. That's what technology helps us do at the end of the day. So holy crap, I want to pick this guy's brain. Well done, Dwyght, as always.
I look at leveraging that technology to make your inner office team, your staff, your drivers, your laborers, make their lives easier, because ultimately, if you're making their lives easier, what type of impact do you think that's going to have on the customer? So when your driver's not dealing with 40 plus pieces of paperwork, trying to manage paperwork, manage a crew, manage the customer, ultimately he's got to safely get his crew to the house, safely transport those goods. If we can eliminate all those boxes that the driver has to check, so the driver is like, hey, I focus on getting my crew there safely, and then I focus on my crew and the customer, and that's all I have to worry about. That's amazing. You're gonna get more 5-star reviews. You're gonna have happier crews. You're gonna have less turnover, and it just kind of snowballs. But I see this as I mean, look at any services that we all buy. I mean, shoot, Cliff and Dwyght. I mean, I'm sure you guys order and buy stuff right here all day. Bing, 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 right?
Yep.
Can you do that in
Yep.
the moving industry right now? And yes, you can. Certain companies are right here. But I guess the average consumer now is looking for that Uber-ish, Amazon-ish, and I hate to compare the moving industry to Uber and Amazon but let's face it, that's what our consumers are gauging everybody on, that Amazon Uber-ish experience, and we've got to get up to speed, and we've got to get there, and we're getting very close. I feel like we're really, really getting close to making that happen for our customers.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I would say probably one of the things we want to be careful of, I believe, is just making it too simple for our people. Like we can't forget it is a job, and the easier we make it, the easier they gonna want it. And I'm guilty of it, because anytime I encountered an issue, I used to make a process. I said, hey, you know what? I don't want them to come up to me and ask me a question about this again. Let me create a process, and let me redirect them back to that process when it comes to time. And it got to that point where we were able to do quotes in like under 2 minutes while building a rapport with the customer, and then basically be able to give them a quote without, very little stress.
Yep.
And our estimates were, plus or minus 10%, give or take. And I was like, okay, as long as you stick to the system, it was like almost on robust, where we're like, you know what? An average 2-bedroom in our area would be about 4 hours, 3 guys. Okay, you know what? So when I look at this from a manager standpoint, even if I didn't listen to the sales rep, okay, well, I see that it's 2-bedroom on paper. I see that there's some stairs. Okay, why is the job saying 3 hours? You got corrective action. So it got to that point where, like I said, the system was so automated that the quote shouldn't be too far off from somebody that's just looking at it. And now it's like, okay, what are they doing with their time? Or when something goes wrong, do they know how to problem solve? Because we made it so simple for them that they didn't want to think for themselves.
Yeah.
Same thing for movers. The movers, you try to simplify the driver's task in the morning, and you're like, okay, well, hey, how can we simplify the driver's task? Okay, you know what? Maybe our nighttime dispatcher or our afternoon dispatcher will check all the equipment, make sure the truck is good for the next day. Maybe even start on the post-trip driver inspection versus a pre-trip, yep, and make life easier. Then it comes down to, oh, well, either we gotta wait around for a guy that's showing up late. Do we get paid for this time? Oh, well, why wasn't this on my truck? Wait, when did we get out of the habit of having to check your truck?
I'm feeling you, Dwyght. I still go back to this is where I'm a little bit old school with this is, if you're the driver, it's my truck and it's my crew and it's my customer. I want to know if and this is just me, if I'm a driver, do I trust my warehouse guy and my dispatch? Sure, I'm going to trust them, but you better believe I'm going to verify before I leave that yard. I'm going to open up the back doors. If that's the process, what have you, is my equipment on that truck? Are my boxes? Are my pads? Do I have my my home care kit on that truck? Because the last thing I want to do as representing the company I work for is show up to that customer's house and, oh, geez, I don't have the boxes. Oh, I don't have this. And it looks terrible. And it takes more time. What if you're driving 30 minutes to origin or 45 minutes to origin or what have you? So for me, it was always, it's your truck, it's your crew. Check that. Make sure you have all the tools you need. If not, we're here to help, but it's your truck. Make sure that thing, make sure there's gas in it. Make sure the windshield wipers work. It's gonna rain today, but again, that's where I'm a little old school on that. It's my truck, it's my crew, and I want to make sure that I'm 100% prepared for what I'm getting into that day.
Yeah, definitely holding them accountable is key. Cliff, so you've been I know you're working out over there, but what you been up to?
Yeah, life's been great. I've been just focusing on psychology and focusing on learning this AI and realizing I love how you talk about making it simple, but the question is asking all of our people, why are we making it simple? And we're making it simple so we can critically think on the most important thing, which is the customer, making their life the right customer. Actually, let me say that, because we're not looking at peoples and angry people and people who are looking to just be pissy, because I know those exist as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we're looking to make the right customer's life easy, their journey as easy and simple, and not only painless, but wow, I would have moved with those guys again. Wow, that was amazing. That's what we want to do.
Yeah, I think.
And so that all I'm doing is just thinking about the people, because as I realize what a business is literally a money-making machine. And if you take care of people, that money-making machine will continue to serve you and them. I mean, it's the best of both worlds.
Yep. And I think it's one of those things where you have to not fall into the trap of feeling like you have to do everything in your company. It's very easy to fall back into that trap. You know, you come into your normal day-to-day and you're like, okay, hey, I got all these tasks I need to do. I got all these tasks, blah, 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 blah. And let's say you're the ops manager / CEO in your company. So now, your dispatcher who, okay, well, he did his job. He got the guys out the door, whatever the case is, and now he's just sitting around the office. And you know that obviously he has tasks that he should be doing, whether it's, confirmation calls or making sure the warehouse is straightened up, making sure that he's doing the pre-equipment for the next day, whatever it is, you know what he needs to do. He knows what he should be doing, but it's not aligning. So now you find yourself, oh, hey, did you make your calls? Oh, hey, did you do your equipment check for the next day? And you find yourself delegating throughout the day as well as doing your task. And it's so easy to start to fall into that direction where you feel like, well, damn, I feel like I'm doing everything.
I hate to throw. I gotta throw a plug in here. I told you. I usually when I jump on podcasts, I don't typically speak on this behalf there at all. Right? It's just more of a kind of no filter piece. But
go ahead.
I'll speak in general. What you're saying is on point, and that's where automations come in. Right? All these 1,000 pinpricks of tasks that move coordinators, ops, dispatch, and salespeople, from the follow-ups to the checkpoints to whatever, these are all automated now. So now, that confirmation follow-up, that call 7 days before, 3 days before, 5 days before, all this stuff is automated. So once it's almost like that. What's that old commercial where you basically put the chicken in the thing and you hit the start button where you set it and forget it? Dude, that's where I compare our new automations to that. You set it, right, based on whatever type of move it is, whatever you want it to be, however many touch points you need, set it, forget it, done. So now your ops and dispatch, they can check the warehouse, the physical walkthroughs that, you can't automate, sort of say, or if you want to dial into a virtual checkpoint with live switch or something like that and virtually walk through your warehouse or what have you. But all these tasks, and I basically died each day with hundreds of tasks to do. And that was one of the reasons why, it'd be very transparent, is why it was almost forcing me out of the industry, because I'm like, there's so many tasks to do that I can't focus on what I really need to do. And that's focus on my customers, focus on my accounts, and focus on these quarterly reports and meetings and I'm so busy calling, texting, emailing, and dialing, just all these pinpricks. There's got to be a way to automate this. And at the time it wasn't, but there is now. So it's super, super cool. And it's truly an extension of sales, ops, dispatch, and move coordinators by basically eliminating all those tasks, all those touch points. It's set it and forget it, man. Just like that old commercial. Now I'm hungry now.
Yeah.
Be hungry.
Yeah, and I know that obviously, you're with Supermove or so like that. And just to go into the CRM talk a little bit, I know that it's getting to that point where a lot of these CRMs are able to, have that CMAT process that, like Lewis likes to call it, where it's just like, hey, you know what, we're gonna set up a automated email or automated text message to go out at these specific times after the first point of contact, which is amazing. But again, I feel like, you don't want to have your reps sitting there on their laurels like, when are they going to do their call follow-up? When are they going to follow up with this person? And I've always felt like an auto dialer was so much pressure to put onto a company unless it was a specific call center.
Yeah. I like the automations when it comes to the text and all the mini pinprick things, right? There still needs to be that communication. You still need to pick up that phone. But for me personally, I would have leveraged this where I would have spent more time, not so much in the COD market, because how often are those customers coming back to you?
Yeah.
You can still provide them with an amazing experience that they're never going to forget, and they will come back in 5, 6, 7 years. But to spend all that time with me physically calling, dialing, and typing on the COD piece, yet when I have an account that nets out 100 plus moves a year, I need to be front and present of that account, because that's the moneymaker, right? Those that continue to provide us every line of business, so to say. So for me to leverage all those tasks through automations, great. I still leverage them with the account work, but it gave me 25 to 30% more time each week back that I can now refocus, regroup, either book more business, find a new line of business, or find a new account, or continue to treat the accounts I have and be able to spend more time with that account and dive deeper into it. But yeah, that's where automations come in, and that's where I'm really excited to see how the industry truly leverages this and tackles the living shit out of this one.
Yeah, no, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, it's one of those things now that you start to find out how this stuff really works. And now you start to realize, oh, I had somebody doing my posting for my ads, or I had somebody doing this, I had somebody doing this, and I'm paying all these people to do this. And oh snap, they were just doing the same thing that I could be doing if I just, dialed back. And I know that we don't want to do everything, but it's like it just depends where you are in your company. If you feel like you're sitting on your hands all day, well, hey, get to work.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing. I mean, ask anybody in a moving company, get right into the office, right? So ask your move coordinator, ask that admin person, whatever. Say, what are the things each day that if you could just throw off your plate, what would it be? What absolutely just bugs the snot out of you each day? And you'd be very surprised. It's the texts, it's the emails, it's the multiple follow-ups, it's the reminding to do this. And it's one of the things where tasks are great. I know there's a lot of softwares that set tasks, but setting a task, you still have to set it each time, right? You also have to react to it each time. So that's two triggers there to me where you can eliminate now with automation, where I don't have to send Dwyght a task. The task gets done automatically for Dwyght. I don't need to tell Cliff what he needs to do 13 times a day because it's automatic for Cliff now. Now Cliff can go work out rather than call these customers or whatever it may be. But
I guess if you was back in a situation, how would you automate the sales process if this was a...
Oh man, starting right off with, as soon as that lead comes in, I would have a text message immediately that went out to that customer, text or email, personalized piece of, hey, receive this, thank you, bet, please give us X amount of time, whatever it is. And I would set the time longer, but have my quote or my virtual survey come in a heck of a lot sooner. So exceeding those expectations. Once the quote got sent out, within 24 hours, if they didn't confirm that quote, I would have another automatic text or email go out to the customer. Hey, just kind of nudging, hey, just following, just checking in, what's going on, what are we doing, whatever the case is. Dates are really strong at this point. So I'd have that go out. Now, if they were to accept the quote within 24 hours, obviously no message would go out, right? So say we booked the move, they confirm, it's 7 days out prior to that move, and it's a PBO order of 150, 60, whatever the number of boxes is. I would have a PBO kind of text go out. Hey, Mr. Customer, just checking on the packing. I know, do you have your packing done? Is it this? And then automatically send them out a virtual link that they could show me that their packing is done. Because how often, I'm sure, Dwyght, you've been in this position before where, I'm going to pack it all. I'm going to pack it all. And then your crew gets out there and that shit ain't packed.
Nope, not at all.
It's in the heat of the summer. You don't even have a pack crew available, and ultimately it ends up making the moving company look bad because the customer didn't do their job. But how do you sit there and say, you didn't do your job, so I can't move you? We don't have packers. We don't have this. I don't even have an additional day and a half to pack, load, or do what have you for you. It just makes it throws more fuel in that fire than you need. However, if you were on top of that prior to, and this is an upsell point as well. So not only would that 7 days out, would I go ahead and send them that kind of PBO reminder, hey, you got this stuff done. I'd also have a little quote in there saying, hey, if you can't get it done, let me know by this date and we can pack it for you. So you can automate basically upsells as well. So
yeah,
but I have it throughout the entire move process, man. And just think anytime that you're calling, checking in to follow up, customers typically don't like to talk to movers or office staff on the phone while their crew's there. It just
Yeah.
seems weird. Now, if it's a great experience, sure. But if it's not so great, they're not going to air out the crew in front of, they got to walk away. It's awkward, but everybody can answer a text no matter where they're at. So I'm a big, and our customers love the text. It's quick, it's easy, and it was just super simple for them.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know one of the what was it called? I forget what it was, but it was a system that basically was like AI and so like that. It basically took up all your follow-ups for you. And I forget the company name because I keep seeing it on my Facebook as I scroll. But it was an expensive program, and I think if you had a lot of volume of leads every week, it would probably make sense so that you don't have to hire so many reps, because basically what it would do is it would do a lot of drop voicemails, email and text messaging. It also can connect with Facebook Messenger, and any platform that pretty much you talk to your customers on. And it was pretty sweet, but it was just like one of those things where it's just like you're setting up AI, you're setting up a bot to pretty much, for the common responses that a customer would say, so that basically it eliminates the amount of time and repetitiveness that a rep would spend talking to a customer. And it ultimately, go ahead.
Have you heard of, you talking about Happy Robot? Have you heard of those guys yet?
No, not Happy Robot.
I'm working with those guys right now, Pablo and his team, and you want to talk about crazy, man. You can like duplicate yourself, your voice, how you talk, how you speak. So instead of me making 40 calls a day, like I can still make my 40 calls, but guess what? Happy Robot Ryan can make 40 calls a day as well. And you don't know who's who. It's the coolest thing, but it's also extremely scary.
Yes.
Scary. But I mean, imagine having 3 Dwyghts in a room. How much work could you get done? Imagine having 5 or 6 Cliffs. There'd be no dumbbells left in the gym if we had 5 or 6 Cliffs over there. But hey, AI wise, we could get a lot of stuff done,
right? Cliff pushing everybody over. Excuse me, need that dumbbell.
Like, I love those guys. They're amazing. Look at their smile.
He's like, where's all the 50s at? Where's my 50s at? All the AI bots got them.
No, that is awesome. Like it is scary how technology is taking over. And I could say probably a couple of years or a few years back, before I even heard of ChatGPT, it was like you felt technology was starting to make a imprint, and you're like, oh no, like like how Lewis mentioned about using the phone books. The phone books was still a thing back in 2014, and. Yeah. And it was just like people were like, oh, do you want a ad in the phone book, or do you want this in the yellow pages where people search online or whatever the case is? And I was like, is that what movers do?
That was movers. That was their big ad piece. That's like they'd fight for the yellow pages. And I remember when I first started in the industry, and was it 2011? It was like September of 2011. I never forget that. And a rep came in and was like, hey, do you want to take out your quarter page ad? And I'm like, in what? And they dropped a phone book on my desk. And I was like, what is that? I'm like, my phone book's right here. Like, there's no any way to drop an ad in here. No.
Yeah.
And it was like $1,800 to have a little ad. I'm like, that is insane. But that's how this industry has thrived and lived, through the yellow pages.
Yeah, maybe my age when we had the Rolodex.
I can't. I won't lie to you though. I have actually, I think I got you right here, Dwyght. But I still keep all my cards. I do have a Rolodex as well, so I'm a little old school there. I still take notes with pens, but yeah, no, I still like my cards and my Rolodex, so I can't say too much.
Yeah, I got it. So I got a Remarkable too. It's an actual electronic notebook. Oh yeah,
it is, my man.
So so I have a Remarkable too. It's actually an electronic notebook. So it was like, I got to that point where it's like, I take so many darn notes. And when you run out of notebook pages and you're like, what, I don't want to throw this book away because it has valuable information. So
I gotta get on that because I do the same thing. I've got, and it's right here, it's buried and all this stuff, but just like pages and pages of notes. And it's like after 3-4 days, I'm like, I don't even know what's on the previous 3-4 pages. And eventually a month, 2 months, and it's like, I need more space. I got to throw these pages out. So you briefly read them, you this, you that, but I got to do a better job of it because I take a lot of notes.
Yeah, if it's like notes that don't, you can care if you throw it away. Okay, you know what? Notepad, let's go. But if it's like something like, oh well, you know what? I got these documents I need to keep track of, blah blah blah, like PDFs and stuff like that. The Remarkable actually allows you to download it right into it, and basically you can write on it and email it right back out. So it's like almost like your own print off. You sign it with your regular signature, and you could email it to somebody. Only thing it doesn't do, I think, is fax, which is fine because I'm still mad that people are still doing faxes.
Yeah, I got into it with the insurance company not too long ago. Like, oh, you got a fax. I'm like, who does that? I'm like, why can't I just email it to you? No, we don't accept email. It's got to be fax. It's safer. I'm like, how you tell me a fax is safer than email? Like, next thing you're gonna tell, I got to show up with a typewriter and type my name. Like, don't tell. I used a typewriter my first year in the moving industry, and I don't ever want to see one again.
Yeah, I remember.
There's still companies using typewriter. I just met 2 companies. I shit you not, Dwyght. I don't want to say where it was, when I was, just out of and these are it's great groups, but the one company has 2 typewriters slinging all day, just and they've got 20 trucks. These guys aren't some small operation. They're 20 trucks. They do 3,000, was it 32 or 3,300 moves a year?
Nice.
Their bill of ladings are all being hand typed on a typewriter.
That's scary.
Yeah.
But that they probably hiring somebody like one of those people that work in the court where it's like, can you write 60 words in a minute?
What they call stenographers or stenograph, whatever it is. They just sit there and
but you got to hope that you don't have that many cancellations either, because oh man, talk about you wrote up the next 5 bill of ladings and now somebody cancels and you're like, oh, okay.
You better hope a key doesn't get stuck on that thing. What happens if the T gets stuck? What do you do at that point?
Oh yeah, the fun stuff. I had back in I think 97, like I said, it's showing my age, but back in 97 when I had to use a typewriter to write book reports for school. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, how old are you, Mike?
Let me slide it back over.
Either you're gonna make me feel real young or real old. How old are you?
36.
Oh, man. So I'm older than you. I got you by a couple years. I didn't use a typewriter in school.
How old are you, Ryan?
I'm 38.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm older than both of you, and I didn't have to use a typewriter in school.
Yeah, we used the old TI.
I'm 42. Yes.
The 110.
I think I used it at home because I think I used it at home because either you had to go to the library, public library, because most people didn't have like actual computers like that in their house. It was one of those things where it was the new era when computers were actually hitting, and you had to use a floppy disk.
Yeah.
Make sure you bring your book report in on your floppy disk, and you'll upload it when you come to class.
It just reminds me, like back in the day, like was it
moving fast.
Game out, and you had to blow on the game just to get the thing working. Where you get a little crease in that 3.5-inch floppy, like that info was gone. You weren't getting that back.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I think I found the floppy maybe 5 years ago. I found the floppy disk in my house. I was like, only if I knew what it was on here.
You look back at that, and this is kind of a side piece there, but that 3.5 flat is a big piece of whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many JPEGs could you get on there? Like 8? You get like 8 pictures on there, right? Now you got this little thing, which is smaller than that holds, I don't even know how I got 3,000, 4,000 pictures on there, plus all the other, like, just crazy. If you actually take a step back and look just in the short period of time, like how far technology has came it still blows my mind away.
It definitely has.
I'm a moving guy at heart, and now I'm in the tech field, so I'm seeing all this cool stuff, and it truly is. You step back and you're like, wow, like what's it going to look like for my kid who's 13? Like, what is tech going to look like for him? Because they grew up with this stuff. And Dwyght, you grew up with a typewriter. I grew up with powdered milk. I mean, like, what is it going to be in 10, 15 years from now?
You ain't never lie. And I think right now, I don't think they have a substitute for the flash drive besides cloud now. So I think that's going to be they're going to really be heavily continually pushing that until the flash drives become obsolete. and I'm just like, I don't want to trust anything to the internet right now, where I'm like, what if it just poof and nobody has an answer for where it went? So until the flash drive disappears, I think I'm going to ride it out.
Yeah, hey, well, it's amazing when things disappear, you can't find it, but you get the FBI involved. They can find something from 30 years ago on an old tablet or something like that. So I figure, hey, if I lose something, I don't have anything to lose anyway. So it's like, we're going to take a couple vacation pictures.
Yeah.
Not too much. Not
Yeah, I had the issue with Google. So we had probably about 300-400 reviews over time, and then basically we lost like almost 200 of them.
Ooh.
And I went on Google or so like that, and Google was like, well, we can't find them, but we could recover 21 or 12 for you or whatever the case is. I'm like, how can you not find something that obviously you removed, but you was able to recover something? So it's crazy, like just trusting your whole business to the internet, especially powerhouses like Google, who monopolizes a lot of the stuff that we do.
They were just telling you, you're too good. You got 300-400 5-star reviews. They're just trying to knock you down because there's somebody that's paying more to get up above you. So they're just pulling them reviews from you, man. That's all.
Yeah, so it's something. One of the guys, I think it was Nick, who mentioned that something like 1,800 reviews, which is amazing. And it's just like working with companies like I know CRMs have these review fetchers and stuff like that in the systems, but I think working with companies like Bird Eye and these other review fetching companies who like, hey, their sole job is to be, let's go get these reviews.
Yeah, I rolled with Podium for a couple years, and they were great. Podium was nice and easy. But again, it's that working out of a whole nother system, right? I mean, that's always what got me is like, I wish we could just work out of one system. It was, we had the Unigroup piece, and we had Google Sheets, and then we had Excel sheets, and then we had a software, and then, oh geez, by the way, we've got Podium. Don't forget to go ahead and send out the 5-star reviews and the check-ins with Podium. So it was just, it was nuts. But yeah, Podium's a really cool way to generate a ton of 5-star reviews.
Yeah. Now you said that was something that you had to work out of their system, or did they do it?
We had to work out of their system.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just an SMS system, and then what you could do is you could have preset questions. So like, hey, just check in, how's your packing going on a scale of 1 to 10? And this part was automated. So if you set the parameters, so if it was like a 8 and above, we wouldn't even worry about it. But if it clicked in at 7 or above, it would go ahead and shoot us additional message, basically letting us know that, hey, things aren't going that great. So they had a 1 to 10 system that you could scale and kind of preemptively have questions sent to the customer while you were low, but you had to physically do that. It wasn't automatic.
Now, did you while you was on that, did you ever do like the quality calls type surveys, like how all these other companies are doing now?
So we did QC checks. Is that what you? So we would physically drive out to the location, and basically I had a little checklist of things, and from basically pulling up to the house, was the truck parked in a safe place? Did they have the cones out? Did they have, underneath the walkboards, they have something there, cardboard, whatever, to protect the concrete or the driveway from the walkboards? Did they have all the floor protection? Was the customer informed? Is our crew working? Our boxes clean, neat, straight, labeled, or what have you? So I did a lot of those, but then insert virtual surveys, right? So virtual surveys can be used more than just surveying a customer's home. So it got to the point where instead of me driving a half hour, 40 minutes or what have you, and I did QC checks for other van lines as well. So Bud Van Lines was probably the number one that they pay crazy money to have me drive all over and do quality control checks on their customers. So insert technology. So stop me from driving. I could just send a link to our driver and he can walk me through the house. Or I send a link to the customer can walk me through the house so I can see what's going on at all times right at my desk.
Exactly. And I think, live switch, I was hesitant at first, because I was like, oh, well, there's software that's already out there that's, allowing you to be able to do it. But the ease of use.
Oh, I'm telling you, live switch is, if I would have had live switch back in the day, my gosh, game changer. Absolute game changer. Now you don't even have to, it's on your phone. If you want to just go ahead and record. So if you're a driver, you can, no apps needed, none of that. And the fact that you can basically zoom in and crop out certain pieces, those guys are very, very cool. I love James and his entire team over there, and they're a really good partner of us over at Supermove. So it's been a blast working with those guys, and they continually growing and finding new lanes and new markets to just crush it in. So big partner to have, man.
Yeah, Cliff,
Yeah.
you missed it in the group, the other group where they were talking about how you can actually take photos now of like a customer's home, and it doesn't you don't have to label it or title it or wherever the case is where it's at, and you could just upload it into ChatGPT and tell it to inventory out the house, and it'll actually break
Oh,
out, oh, well, this is the living room, here's the items in the living room, here's the bedroom, here's the items in the bedroom based off the photos you have just attached without
that's
and just
cool.
just prompt it. And it was just like,
Wow.
yeah, I'm like, what a game changer. Like,
I just watched
Yeah.
a video on that the other day, yesterday, I think is what it was, where the guy's just walking in. He's like, all right, sofa table, TV stand, boom, boom, boom. And then, yeah, I mean, it took a little work. He had to run it twice just because the first time it came up a little different, second time, what have you. But talk about saving a ton of time. And this is where it comes down to leveraging ChatGPT, leveraging AI. Just start getting comfortable. Just start playing with it. I mean,
yeah,
I'm still
basically.
not 100% comfortable with it, but you got to put a hand in the foot in at some point. Otherwise, it's going to be so far beyond you that it's just going to be even more frustrating, and you're going to fall even further behind.
Yeah, I was paying
Yeah.
about. Go ahead, Cliff.
No, I got two rules for you guys with Chat GPT, and I'm learning it from an expert. They said first, make sure to prompt it specifically on who it is. And this can be a copywriter, this can be a moving expert, this can be an owner of a gym, this FBI, even. Like it can be whatever you want it to be. Prompt it and tell it what it is. Because if you don't tell it what it is, it's going to give you a bunch of best of word gobbledygook. It's just going to be, it's not going to make sense. It's not going to be coherent, and it might even just lie to you. But if you tell it what it is, it will take on that character. And then the second is to do multiple prompts, not just one prompt. Clean it up, polish it up, make it better, and it actually continues to learn. So as you're doing that, it learns more and more. It's really cool.
Yeah,
I don't use it so much in the Supermove world. I mean, I have to, if I'm trying to write an email or something like that, I always struggle to get the first line or two down, right? So I'll use it as like, hey, get me going, and I just need to see a line or two, and then it all comes full circle. But we have a side business, but we own a sub shop in town, and literally all of our marketing, everything's ran. I don't want to give up the seat. Well, nobody in our town probably is going to know this, but giving up the secret. Everyone's like, oh man, you got best marketing game in town. How do you guys do it? Oh man, everything is just, it's the bomb.com. And I'm like, I want to be like, it's ChatGPT. But I utilize that every single day to come up with these creative posts or giveaways or what have you. And you're spot on, Cliff. I mean, I basically speak as I need a funny Facebook post as a sub shop owner who's boom, include the following. Boom. And
Nice.
yes, emojis included. I'm like, done. Copy, paste, change a word or two, post on Meta, done.
That's all. That's yeah. The other thing too, like use it for your marketing. Use it for the people that you're looking to communicate with, their pain points, their fears, their desires, all of those things, and it'll start putting out that concise list. Now, the cool thing with like a ChatGPT and maybe like a marketing firm, they can work hand in hand, because a marketing firm can look at the future and navigate and adapt and do those things. ChatGPT can't do that. But I started seeing like in business, it's about message and mechanics. And when you can get the message and mechanics to gel together, the coolest thing is everybody wins. Even if you're a business owner who is not winning, you are winning because you've learned I'm not doing something right. See, I think people look at the like, oh, well, if this and if this, well, life's life. That's what it's going to be. But if you say, okay, how do I adjust? People buy value. That's it. And even when I learned why so many people buy McDonald's, because, oh, it's fast. It's convenient. And so it's my job to let them know that this stuff's killing you. And I just have to figure out how to put the message correctly where it makes sense for people to say, oh crap, I'd rather work out with Cliff, or I'd rather grow my business, or I'd rather be healthy for my kids, whatever that may be. Everyone's action is they're trying to either survive or thrive. And when I realized, like, holy crap, like if I have a business where I'm complaining a lot, it's because I'm bringing in a bunch of people to give me a reason to complain. I don't want to be around 5s and 4s and 3s. I want to be around 10s.
Mm-hmm. And I think when I first started out in my company, I was like, you know what? One of my goals was when I started my movie company was to be, employ a lot of people and really grow out of that, oh, well, you're considered a small business, So I just wanted to like, hey, let me hire all these people. You're going to be in this role. You're going to be in this role. We're going to thrive, blah, blah. And you realize as years go out, you're like, I don't want these many people. That just sounds like so much more headache than just dealing with the customers, It's just like,
Yeah.
you know what? Let me simplify this.
There's a book, and I don't know if you guys can read it because of my background. Anyway, it's called 10x is easier than 2x. The problem is always an internal problem. Always. My biggest problem is I wanted to help a bunch of 5 and 4s. And what I mean by that, it's not to attack anyone as a person. It's just to say there are people out there who are not looking to value people, who are not looking to look out for people because they're too busy looking out for themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just factual. It's analytical. And as I started looking at it, I go, holy crap, imagine, Dwyght, when you bring people on who make your life easier. There's people you can bring on where like, oh my goodness, I didn't know it was this easy. And that's where it's like, okay, this is on me. I need to figure out the message and the mechanics on how do I get more of those and less of those. But it's still a game of law.
Yeah, I think not holding on to someone for too long is going to be key for anything because you get complacent. You're like, oh well, this person's been with me their longevity. I probably won't find somebody that wants to stick around because of the turnover rate. And you get caught in that trap of keeping them around way too long, and they wore out their welcome.
That brings down the whole team at that point because the other teammates see that as someone should be gone, but yet they're still being kept around because of the legacy piece or what have you. And ultimately, that to me, that's like a cancer throughout the team. That shit spreads, it grows, and next thing you know, you're toxic across the board. I mean, and it sucks. You got a nice guy that got you to a particular level. You almost, thank you. You got me here. You got us here. That's great. But we've now outgrown you. You've had multiple chances to basically rise with the tides, and you're still more or less an anchor on this journey. So fail fast, move fast, and surround yourself with amazing people.
Yeah, I realize
that leadership role is not an easy role by any means. Like I'm not telling like, oh, just cut it off, just cut it. It's a human being having an experience. And as a leader, like you want to build legacy. And it's sometimes tough when someone who helped you fly is now an anchor because that happens sometimes. And it's like, fuck, like I love this guy. Like I've been with this guy forever. And I think there's a cordial way to do this. Like I'm all about being cordial with people. I would never, ever just, oh, well, looks like you're a 4 now. Like, no, that's being a dick. I'm not telling people to do that. It's just, it's find a way to have a conversation with the person and even send them on their way and in a good way, if you can. Like that makes it easy on me because I have a heart. I want to support people. I'm not there to bring them down. And if I feel a person's acting like a 3, I'm not going to be a douche and be like, oh, you're a 3. Why would I work with you? I'm a 10. Like, no, that's being a douche. It's just
ultimately, I feel like it boils down. Sorry to cut you off there, Cliff.
You're good.
My head gets rolling here and I just can't stop myself. But it boil it down to knowing your people and knowing your people really, really well. What triggers them? What makes them happy? I mean, you could have a 9 or 10 in your company for years, then all of a sudden, the past couple of months, you're a 4 or 5. Like, to me as a leader or an owner of an organization, what have you, I feel like I should know why they're a 3 and a 4. Are they having troubles?
Absolutely.
Did grandma die?
Yeah.
There's something in the way that turn them from a 9 to a 10 down to a 4 or 5, or a 7 or 8 down to a 3. There's something there, right? I mean, it might not be work related. It's more than likely outside of work. But how do we get involved at that point? Because then you can go ahead and you can get back that 9 or 10 if you know your people. So I think oftentimes, and I heard this the other day, not the other day, 2 weeks ago when I was at a conference, the guy's like, every time I stop into a branch, there's all these people. I don't even know who they are. I walk in and I'm like, who's this guy? Oh, he's the director of operations. I'm just like, you have no, like, you've outgrown your space. You don't even know who your people are that are making you your money. You don't know the ones that are putting out the fires day in, day out. Yet you're going to come in there and just fire somebody. It blew my mind away how some organizations are still kind of operating like that. They don't know their people. They don't know birthdays. They don't know kids. Hey, how was your kid's football game yesterday? Hey, how was that basketball game that you had over the weekend? I mean, those are the questions that we ask our people at our subs. And even in the organization Super Move, it's like, hey, how was your kid's football game? How was your kid's hockey game? Like, that's just a constant piece. Like, we all want, everybody knows everybody, right? So it keeps that accountability.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely love that. And I agree. Like, what's so interesting, I like having a tribal team around me, because they can see things that I can't see. And if I'm emotionally triggered, I may make the wrong choice too. Most likely I would. And that's why I say it's about controlling and focusing those emotions, and also having a team that's going to have each other's back to make sure the organization's moving properly, but also the people are moving properly. These are people that we're dealing with, and we should take care of them.
Yeah, my old mentor, as we'll call him, because obviously I'm an emotional guy, right? I get triggered, I get fired up, I get charged. Like, I want to win. I don't know who likes to lose, right? I've only met a few people in my life that truly like to lose, where it's just like, even if I play a sport that I just never play, like, I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna find a way. Whether I take your knees out, like, I'm gonna win. It could be ping pong, tennis, golf. I don't care. It could be, how far can we throw this cell phone? I am gonna beat you, Cliff. And Dwyght, whatever the case is.
While you're on that, real quick, I think I had a friend where, like, we all have hobbies or whatever the case is, but we find ourselves in, like, almost every hobby in this world is competitive in some form of nature. And, I was playing this card game, and my friend was like, oh, you just need to go and have fun. No, I don't mind going to have fun. I just don't like having to lose week after week and think that, oh, I'm just going to have fun. There's no fun in losing. Nobody likes to go and lose.
No. Second place is first place loser. But where I was going with that is, he told me, because again, there was a few times when I was in seat where I get so fired up because things just were not getting done. Customers were not. So he kind of implemented a 24-hour rule with me, because I was so emotional, wanted to win, so passionate about winning and winning the customer and what have you. So before I'd freak out on anybody, take 24 hours, let that digest in me. And you know what? Let's visit this the next day when my emotions aren't charged. I'm not running at 1,000 miles an hour. I can think more clearly, sit down with that employee or sit down with that colleague, and then basically be able to have that conversation. Because you find it too often in this industry, man. It's peak season. There's fires. We're over capacity. Guys aren't showing up. People are just so charged, and the small little problem pops up in the workplace. And what happens? It just absolutely explodes if you just step back for 24 hours. And there was many times I'd step back and I just wanted to just absolutely pile drive somebody at my old organization. And then I get up in the morning and I'm just like, I start laughing. I'm like, man, I was all fired up over that. Like, I still want to, punch the guy in the throat, but there's no need to. There's no need to, right? So slow it down, take that 24 hours, get recharged and realize, hey, it wasn't that big of a deal as it was, but still an issue, still needs to be addressed. Yeah. But it doesn't come at it differently. No need to sweep kick them in the net.
So I had a couple of people I alleviated the power of, oh, well, you're a department manager. Okay, if you need to fire your staff, you can fire your staff and make sure you're also hiring staff so we ain't down. But, it was like one of those things where you have to let them know, hey, if you're ever mad at them or, obviously I'm in the building so I can hear, any frustrations going on, we don't fire underneath duress. We fire, take a day off, send them home for the day, think about it the next day. If the decision is at that point still the same, okay, we can move forward, but we're going to move forward without the unprofessionalism of, oh, get the hell out of here. You're messing up today.
I can tell you in the 12 years in the moving industry, I've never had to fire a single person. You know why
Nice.
it is?
Because they fire themselves.
You got it, Dwyght. I've never had to fire anybody because you know what? They fire themselves. I just had to basically let them know, look what you did to yourself in your career. This is what you did. We gave you all the tools necessary. You chose to go this direction. So, I guess, yeah, I'm batting 1,000 there.
I hear that.
Nice.
Cliff, you still been playing a role at the company, right? The movie company?
I have. Yeah. It is like, and I'm talking to multiple movers. It's a hard season for everybody. Like,
Yeah.
it's
You don't
one
ever
of
get
those
cold in
things.
Arizona.
Yeah, yeah. And the lucky thing, so Curtis has really good systems in place where at least his systems are doing most of the heavy lifting. There's movers who they don't know how to systematize at all. So not only does it suck and they're dealing with the struggle, but they don't have the system. So they're feeling it doubly and triply.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, like I look at this game, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a game of awareness. Everything's a game of awareness. The movers have a certain type of awareness. The VAs we work with have a certain type of awareness. The owners have a certain type of awareness. And it's getting it cohesive enough where everybody can thrive together. I'm having a lot of fun playing it, actually.
Yeah. Did you take your true vacation this year, Cliff?
Nope.
Hey, I just got back from my first vacation since I've been out of the moving business. So over a decade.
Nice.
I had a legit
Where'd you go?
Aruba.
Very nice.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Oh, it was absolutely beautiful. And I'm already like looking at, I'm like, how can I get down there again? Like, that's part of 2024. Yeah, I need to go back. But we think, I mean, peak season, you never take a vacation, right? And a smaller organization, I wore many hats. So even if I did take a day off, like things just snowball. Like the phone never stopped, the emails never stopped, text never stopped. So this is the first time in a decade where like literally I took the vacation and I was not worried about I'm going to come back to a pile of this or things aren't going to get our team. And this is one thing that, man, I'll tell you, it's when you work with a team like I do, and I'm sure there's there's many teams like Supermove sort of say, but everybody is just so, we got to win. And guess what? If there's a teammate down or on vacation or whatever the case, they step in automatically, pick up the slack and get it done. Like I'm just not used to that. I'm used to being out of seat or out of pocket. And hey, when Ryan's gone, just let it pile up. And then when he gets back, he'll figure it out. Kind of old school, like, hey, well, he's the sales guy. So when he gets back, he can figure it out. No. So on vacation, I actually felt guilty the first 2 days because I only looked at my phone like 25 times, like, oh, what's going on in Slack? Or, oh man, I should. And I started answering a couple things in Slack. And my boss, my VP was just like, enjoy your vacation. We got this. Shut it down. And I'm just like, what? You're telling me to enjoy my vacation?
Awesome.
Like, seriously? Like I can do that? So yeah, I mean, it's just to be a part of a team like that feels really, really good because I was nervous coming from where I was to, hey, what's this new world going to look like? And oh my gosh, man, I wish I would have made the jump a long time ago. It's just, it feels really good to be a part of a championship team again.
Yeah, no, definitely
like that. That's so cool. Like big congratulations to you on that. Cause I'm literally going through my process of, I got a 7 and a 2-year-old. And there's a part of me, there's a workaholic in me, and I can feel that person. And it's sometimes I don't go on vacation because I love what I do so much. And that's not necessarily a healthy thing. We have our virtues and we also have our vices. And it's figuring out like Ryan's story, for instance, it's reminding me, it's a reminder to me that Cliff, you walk away and you have the championship team, they actually do better without you. Like what's interesting, the bottleneck is always the leader in any organization. It's always the leader. And I get to see so many brilliant business people on what to do. And I get to see a lot of blunders and F-ups too on what not to do. And there's people, they'll be doing things for 10 years a certain way and being the bottleneck of their business. and just grinding, and making it harder than it needs to be. And it's because it makes perfect sense. If that's all you see, that's what you know. And if that's what you know, that's what you do.
Yep.
So thank you for that story. It's a stark reminder to me.
And I'll take to, and I don't normally talk about this by any means, but I'm going to throw it in there just because you do have kids, Cliff. I've got a 13-year-old, right? Well, as I was transitioning out of my moving job, 2 days before my last day, we get the call that no parent or family or anybody wants to get, oh, your kid is sick. Your kid has that C word, as we'll call it. And we're like, what? What are you talking about? So from the time I got that call, we're actually approaching 1 year mark now on the 11th. So in 2 more days will be the 1 year mark that he's good, he's clear, beat everything, blah, 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 what have you. But when you get that call, you didn't take those vacations that you wanted to, but you're like, no, I got to work because I love to work. You didn't go out to eat when you were gonna. You didn't get the steak. You didn't go to this party. You didn't go to this because it was all work driven, right? Well, I can tell you after being in that position, getting that phone call, going through the chemos, the radiations, and watching your own kid take the fucking vacation to eat the steak, take time off of work for you, the family, for whatever the case is, because you never know when that call is going to come. So
100%.
And to tie that in there, man, just because, like I said, with the kids, don't get take the vacations, take the time off. You got the time, use it. If you come back and you got a pile of work, you got a pile of work. That work is always going to be there. The family is not. You never know when that time's going to be. So
yeah. Oh,
100% true.
I was definitely big on taking, like three vacations a year. I was spoiled. I was like, you know what, you got to take one for your birthday. You got to take one for the Thanksgiving holiday, and on Thanksgiving holiday, you got to take a whole week. You can't just take that day, and then, Christmas was another one. I was like, you know what, these are the perfect times because, at this point in time, business should be a little slow, except for you get that one customer on New Year's Eve who wants to move. And you're like, really? And and they don't just have a short move; they have the longest move in the world, where it's like
18,000-pound full pack going across town. I'm like, yeah, where are we gonna find a crew for that on New Year's Eve?
Right, and then they're like, "Oh, can you hurry up? I gotta go to a New Year's Eve party." Well, we don't want to be here either.
Yeah, it's funny. We were always busy around the holidays, like right before Thanksgiving, the week before Christmas, the week after Christmas. It was always. I'm like, man, why do y'all wait till the day? And some people like moving 3-4 days before Christmas. I'm like, how are you gonna play that off with Santa and your kids? Like, how's Santa gonna know you're gonna switch houses?
Right. Ed Katz from Wyoming, he who focused on international moving. And you were there, and Cliff, you know him. It's one of those things where he talks about commercial moves just nonstop. Like, hey, it's gonna be busy around the holiday season. So if you're like one of those who that, hey, I want to take a vacation around the holiday season, good luck on that when dealing with commercial.
I'm an Ed Katz graduate, man. Ed Katz graduate, the old school Wyoming office.
Nice.
It works. It is so basic, so simple, but it works. You just got to get that to the team. But yeah, we did a ton of commercial work when I was.
What do you think about the new age now? Before we head off, but what do you think about the new age with doing office moves? Do you think the industry is going more and more to remote now that AI and all this other stuff going on?
At the end of the day, I mean, offices are still going to be offices. It's never going to. We're never going to go fully remote. Leases are still in place. Rents are going to go higher, go lower. Companies are still going to be on the move. I mean, obviously, we had a big hiccup with household this year because of interest rates and all that. That's going to come down as well. It's just, again, I boil it all into diversification. If you diversify your lines, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. You should not be having peak and non-peak. You're just going to have a steady season across with peaks and mini dips, sort of say. But oops, sorry, Slack was blown. I thought I turned my Slack off. But the office moving is where it's at. I mean, colleges are always going to be there. I mean, if you live in a town where there's colleges or universities, that's work all day, every day throughout the entire year. So why you're not there? Dorm room furniture was huge for us. And what do they do every year? For each dorm room, all the material gets slid to one side. They wax the floors. Then everything gets slid to the other side. They wax the floors, and you put the furniture in place. So Inner dorm moves every 8 years. Hotels and dorms are replacing furniture, so you can get clean outs, you can get all the delivery to the warehouse, and then delivery install out. I mean, just know your market. I mean, if you don't have obviously universities and colleges there, you're not going to be able to do that work. But know your market, know what your competitors don't do, and capitalize on that. But yeah, office moves, I guess to answer the question, they're not going away. I mean, get involved with property managers, get involved with the pyramid brokerages and the companies of like. And when you move somebody once into a building, you better set a trigger or an automation, as we call them now, to fire back 3 months before the end of the year just to see, hey, they're going to move again.
Definitely, definitely.
That work is always there. Installs and deinstalls or decommission, we did all those too, because you look at some of these big box stores, they're closing them down. Well, someone's got to come in there, pack up the merchandise, ship the merchandise, get all the shelvings, and do a complete clean out. We did a ton of those with Dress. You ever hear the company Dress Barn and Lane Bryant?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see those stores were just a plethora. We probably cleaned out 6 of those stores in a matter of 5 months. Great paying job. They put dumpsters out back. We send guys in just to break shit and throw shit in the dumpsters. So it's a good relief for movers because they don't have to be careful and they can smash whatever inside that dumpster. So it was almost like a party for the movers, and we get paid for it.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah. All right, everybody. So
hey guys, I got to take off.
Say that again, Cliff?
Sorry, I got to take off.
All right.
Boys forever, man. So.
All right, Cliff. See you later.
All right, guys. I appreciate you. Have an amazing day. Take care.
All right, so we are at the top of the hour, everybody. So definitely go out. Definitely be diversifying. This is the time to sit down, get your system, get your processes in, figure out what you need to do to diversify, and make sure it's in alignment with your business plan. And hey, go and crush it. We're 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving. Next week, use next week to give back to your guys. Show appreciation week. Have them a meal or something. But yeah, go out and crush it. We'll see you next Thursday. Thank you again, Ryan, for joining us this week. And we'll definitely have to have you back with all the golden nuggets you dropping today.
Oh, man, Dwyght, it's a pleasure meeting you, man. I got super lucky to bump into you in New York, and I'm glad we did bump in and have some awesome conversations. Yeah, man, I'll come on your show anytime. I love just kind of having this no-filter conversation and just seeing what happens, man. Like I said, I'm truly here for the movers. I miss being in the industry. I mean, I'm still in it, but I'm not in it. You know what I mean? So I truly miss that. So it's a breath of fresh air talking to you and Cliff and all these different podcasts and webinars and roundtables I'm jumping on, man. Just it brings me back in seat here. So thanks for having me, man.
Definitely. All right, y'all take care.
We'll see you guys.